you apply for Tough Enough.
Yeah.
And JR, who's one on the panel, tells you that you are too big.
Yeah.
To be a female wrestler. So how do you you're going to go and do it? You've watched Trish, you've watched The Rock, you creepily want to get backstage to have sex with him, but then you go and Tough Enough, standard procedure. And but JR says this thing to you that's quite shitty if you look at it now and hear it. How do you deal with that? And how do you then find a way to still decide to do it?
I mean, I had just to go out there to Las Vegas. I had sacrificed a lot. I was a social worker, and at that time, I wasn't making all that much money. So just taking 2 or 3 days off to go do this meant a lot, and to make a reservation for that expensive Caesar's Palace room, that was a lot for me. And this was 100 pounds ago. So I weighed 100 pounds less. I was like, what you talking about big? I ain't that big. So when he said that, it lit a fire up under me to be okay, well now I have to prove you wrong. Now I have this thing floating out in the universe to just prove this one man wrong. And I'm a stubborn person, and I will devote years to just say, fuck you. And that's what I did.
Best wishes to Jim Ross.
We're friends now. We're friends.
So you go to Tough Enough, and I imagine that it's because in 2001, you don't really know that Tough Enough doesn't tend to work out for people that well when they do it. How do you? What do you do next? What's your next step to try and get into wrestling? If the dream WWF Rock marriage thing doesn't work out, what are you going to do?
Right? I mean, who thought that just wouldn't work out? So since he said, okay, you're too overweight or you're too big, that you'll never succeed in wrestling. You can never be successful in wrestling. I'm like, okay, well, step one, I guess I'm gonna have to lose some weight. And I grew up in the entertainment industry. I grew up as an actress first, actually. I used to be an actress as a child. My mom would push me out to go do auditions because she was an actress herself, and she would push me out to do auditions as this shy child. I was shy in front of strangers, but with your family, how with your family you'll do whatever. So we would practice the lines, and I would say, sunshine cookies are the best, and then she'd get me in the audition, and I'd be like, and then we get back in the car, and I'm like, sunshine cookies are the best. And my mom's like, fuck you should have said that in the room. But so I grew up in the entertainment industry, so we knew a lot of people in entertainment, and a friend of ours said they're looking for people for this weight loss show called Discovery Health Body Challenge. It's kind of like The Biggest Loser, way before The Biggest Loser was a thing, and Kia should go out for it. So I went out for it, and actually they told me that I was too big for their show, and I was like, what the? Are all my mirrors funhouse mirrors? Am I seeing something different? So, but they liked my personality, so they cast me for the show, and they knew I wanted to be a wrestler. So that the segments that we, focused on was me, working out and trying to make it in wrestling. And so that was the next step for me to lose weight. And one of the segments, they wanted to surprise me with a WWE wrestler. And they sit there, and I'm sure someone has seen a reality show in this room, and you know how you do your interviews, and you sit there and you talk to your interviews, and they kept saying, and who's your favorite wrestler? And I was like, Lita. Oh, Lita's great. I want to flip around like Lita. And they were like, yeah, but didn't you say Chyna was one of your friends? I was like, yeah, Chyna's great. She's fantastic. Yes. But Lita, have you seen what Lita does? And they just I just couldn't get that they were trying to funnel me to say Chyna. And then I'm like, I'm missing something here. And I'm like, well, yes, Chyna's a great wrestler, and she's one of the greatest, and she's my favorite. And then next thing you know, Chyna comes out, and we meet, and this is a surprise meeting at the New Japan Dojo in LA. the Inoki Dojo, and they told me anytime you want to come out and train, you can do that. And so she kind of mentored me, took me under her wing to like help me move on to the next phase of my career.
And what was it like to be around Chyna? Because we don't, she left WWF in 2001 and we didn't really hear a lot from her in wrestling again. What were your experiences with her like?
Well, I was enamored and just starstruck, at first, because this is like a living God that I'm associating with, who wants to help me to live out my dream. And she was doing big things in Japan at the time. And that's actually how I got to Japan, was since she was associated with the New Japan Dojo, they kept in touch with me. And so when they were looking for a girl to go out to Japan, they called and said, hey, there's a promoter that's out here looking for a girl, come and try out. So knowing that I had her as like a cornerstone cheering in my corner was surreal. It was like the first door that opened for me.
Next thing you know, it was changed. And I love the fact that I give the respect to Mad One, who is the originator of Booyaka. And that song eventually, became very popular. But yes, I get a lot of people that do love the Who's That Jumping Out the Sky, especially with the old entrance.